Okay, that's my story. I mean, are there any questions?
What kind of English exam, I mean like TOEFL or IELTS, did you pass?
I had to pass the TOEFL, because I guess if you're an international student, you just have to take it. And then I had to take the SATs.
Did you pass it in Czech Republic or in US actually?
I took them in the Czech Republic, all of them, yeah.
So you did it before you applied in university?
Yeah. I mean, it was part of the whole application process. I mean, as part of the application, you'll have the TOEFL and the SATs. Like depending on what school it is, it's either the SATs or the ACT.
GMAT, yes.
Yeah, GMAT if you apply to grad school, and yeah, or like that or GRE or LSAT, that sort of stuff. But that's kind of like normally, I think for grad school it's similar. It's like you have the standardized tests, then some sort of like personal statement or an essay, then your transcript from like high school or like your previous college, then usually some recommendations from teachers, professors, yeah, and I think that's mainly it.
What was your major in education? Major?
In college, I was economics.
Economics?
Yeah.
Theoretical economics or maybe business orientation?
No, it was economics.
Economics.
Because my school, it was liberal arts, which is kind of like general education. So you just had to pick a major, and the major, like I have, in my 4 years, I think, like I took 36 classes total, like each semester 4, and we had this like short semester in January, which will be 1, so 9 classes each year, and only 10 of those counted towards my major for economics, and the rest was kind of like all over the board, which I personally kind of liked about the American system. You kind of like, you try a little bit of everything, and then you can pick a major, but, it's not something, like if you want to study economics, you don't spend like every single day, every single hour just like studying economics, you can take like one class of economics, then you take like a language, you can take philosophy, and you can sort of experiment, and also you don't have to, yeah, I know. Are you guys applying to colleges or more grad schools?
Master's program.
Master. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're different. So you already know what you study, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You should. Yeah. So it's that's a little different, of course.
Could you please tell us about your extra activity in college? I mean about clubs, different organizations.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't organizations. Like at my college, even though it was small, there were probably hundreds of different organizations. Like the ones that I did, it's like we had a school radio, that was, available like on campus and like kind of like in the vicinity, so I did that. That was interesting, then like a bunch of my friends did like Model United Nations, which also I guess it's interesting, usually you get to travel around, meet other like Model United Nations clubs from like other schools. Then, there are all sorts of like sports clubs, like rugby, rowing, and on top of that there are like the serious sports like, skiing or hockey or American football, that sort of stuff. And I mean, what else? Like as an international student, I was of course like a member of the International Student Organization, also a member of the Russian and Eastern European Society. I mean, I think it's a good, like, joining a club is good, for like several reasons. One is that, obviously, like, you meet people that you probably wouldn't meet otherwise. And second, just kind of pragmatic, like, if you join like the clubs usually get money from the school, so you can do activities that otherwise you wouldn't be able to, because like you join, for example, like the Mall United Nations Club, they fund your travel to other colleges and stuff, like my friends, they went to like a Mall United Nations conference in Montreal, for free, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, I should have joined. So
So you like had your full scholarship or just part?
it
Like,
was it was almost full. I mean, the financial aid at Millbrae was need based, so they looked at my parents' earnings, and determined like how much they could pay, which was not very much, and they essentially paid for my entire education. I had a little bit, I had some loans too, but it not not as not as much as like many of my American friends had, because this is one thing, like if you are American, you qualify for all sorts of loans, you know. If you are an international student, you don't. And I mean, on the one hand, it's bad, because you cannot borrow the money to go to college or university or get a master's program. On the other hand, it's good because, like, if you get in and you graduate, you don't graduate with like with owing $100,000.